Hello everyone, Darren here, and welcome to a brand new series here in Cities Skylines 2. Now, over the past couple of weeks, I've been streaming the game, learning the ropes and figuring out what it's capable of, and gotta say, I've just been really enjoying it, despite the jank. So I think now I'm ready to get started with the series and use what I've learned on my experimental city to build something that's a little bit more realistic. The plan is just to play the game in an organic way, not to create a diorama type city, but create small problems for ourselves we'll have to rectify as the city expands, taking on the role of a proper city planner. Now ultimately, I want to push the population as much as we can, reaching all of the milestones, building every building from the development tree, and a series of the landmarks too. We'll want to develop our land, sea, and air infrastructure and produce as many industrial goods as we can, all the while we're still making sure the city layout makes sense and feels like something that could exist in real life. No massive train rides running all the way over high-rises. Yeah, let's keep it fairly realistic. Now, this video is quite long, as it is the first episode and the initial road layouts can take up a decent chunk of time, and I also wanted to get to the Grand Village milestone, so we had a lot to work with for episode 2, but I've tried to speed things up where it makes sense to respect your time, and as well as all that, I love taking suggestions from the comments on where to build next, or what people would like to see, so don't be afraid to give advice, suggestions, even backseat. I'll give you a pass. It's all good by me. So, we're going to be building on Twin Mountain, European theme with, get this, left-hand drive. That's right, I currently live in the UK and I just recently passed my driving test, so I thought I would go with left-hand drive to put some of that newfound knowledge to use. We're going to be designing roundabouts and the like, given this sort of British and Irish town feel, so it's just best that I have a little bit better of an understanding with what I'm doing. To some degree anyway. So remember, if you enjoyed the series, please do consider subscribing and help me get to 100k. I could really do with the ego boost and the validation that people clicked a button on the internet. And speaking of clicking buttons, please do consider liking the video, and if you really do like the series, consider becoming a channel member if you want to get videos early, be recognized in the credits, and my Discord. A channel membership basically makes your one view go several thousand, so it is tremendously helpful for smaller creators like me. So, without any further delay, let's just begin. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the founding site for the city of Blackwater. Unlimited potential awaits us. Now, before we actually get into the gameplay, which I'm super stoked to jump into and I want to get progressing fast, we should just quickly take a look at the topography, the terrain, and the map that we've chosen. We're playing on Twin Mountain, one of the best maps, I feel like, if you're new to city builders, or it's been a while and you just want something relatively simple to start with, and that's because it has quite a basic layout. It just has a single river coming in from the coast here, cutting straight through the center of the map, giving it its namesake by creating this valley with twin mountains on either side. Not only that, but we have a highway that stretches from the edges of both sides of the map, from east to west or west to east, and that highway gives us a great sort of future-proofing. If we ever want to make micro-towns, exploit some resources or things like that further along the coastline, we can easily bring that onto the highway and get those resources off map, or create connections to the downtown area of the city along the river. So that's going to be awesome to work with in the future. Also, we just have a single highway here with one intersection, one bridge. Quite simple. There are other maps like River Delta that has bridges kind of crisscrossing over rivers. Can be quite hard to work with if you haven't played the game before or you're new to that kind of thing. We do also have a smaller 2-lane highway that travels all the way along parallel to the river, all the way out of the map north, which creating another connection point, which is always nice. Can ease traffic somewhat in case you're always trying to get down onto the one junction down here. So I think it's quite a good dynamic map. It should be pretty nice to build on in future. The other thing that we'll have to watch out for is when we turn on our contour lines, we can actually see that there is a very slow but steady incline all the way up to those mountains, pretty much right from where we start. So we'll always have to be cutting into the terrain and thinking about how we're going to manipulate the terrain and try to make things that don't look so crazy, because the terrain in this game can be a little awkward to work with. I think that's possibly an understatement. Anyways, with that in mind, we know that we're not going to be kind of flattening the terrain too much, because we're inevitably just going to be keep creeping up and up and up. So you're going to have to deal with it at some point. So we have to learn to squiggle our way up with roads and figure out like smaller plateaus for certain things. Alright, with all that said, let's just quickly take a look at the UI, just in case we have anybody joining us that doesn't really know the game that well or isn't that familiar. In the bottom left, we have the time and date. The interesting thing here is that 1 month is equal to 24 hours. So when the 24-hour day-night cycle passes by, that's 1 month that's gone through. And the weather, I think, is possibly tied to the entire day/month, I think. I'm not entirely sure on that. Anyways, we have 3 seasons then.
Sorry, we have 4 seasons every 3 months. We have our name of the town, the population, the money that we currently have, and then, of course, how happy our citizens are. We'll talk about all that a little bit later. Of course, we actually can't see anything. A lot of stuff is locked for us right now. We can't forward plan that well. I'm going to be building a dynamic, living, breathing city with all the mistakes that come with it, redeveloping large portions as we unlock new things, as we discover new things like where the natural resources are, and as we take suggestions from the comments and things that people want to see. I've been streaming the game just a little bit to learn the ropes, get familiar with it, as I didn't get it before release, so I'm kind of playing catch up with some of the other YouTubers. But the great thing with taking your guys' suggestions is you teach me so much, and we do things and experiment with things that I never would have tried otherwise. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with in the comments and say, like, oh, you should build on this thing, build on this island, make a fishing town. Those kind of things are great. All right, so without any further delay, let's just get to building. We'll start with our road tool. I've got a general idea of what I've got in mind. So basically, the industrial zones, we can see that the wind is pushing northeasterly up towards the river and away from where we're going to be hopefully building our town. We have a sort of a little valley down here between 2 small hills. Every contour line you see is a 1 meter difference in height, so pretty small. But then you've got these thicker black ones, which sort of indicate an every 10 meter jump. So that's where you got to really think about that. So we've got a little bit of a valley here. We're going to build our commercial area down here, some of our suburbs down here, some row housing. We're kind of building an English sort of town. We've got left-hand drive enabled because it's kind of unusual. I feel like most people on YouTube don't do that. I live in the UK right now. I'm not English, but I live in the UK. So I'm going to be modeling it off of a lot of things that I see. I just recently passed my driving test at 31 years of age, and you know, I've been learning roads and learning roundabouts and layouts of all sorts of things, so it's very fresh on the mind. So I'd like to recreate some of the things. It's definitely not the best planned roads in the world, the UK road system. It's roads on top of roads and lots of changes, but that's exactly what we're going to be building with this city. So what I'm going to be doing is following this kind of black line here, the thicker black line around, with a medium road. So we're coming in off of a highway. The highway is called Concord Highway, straight onto Crescent Street. And Crescent Street's going to be wrapping around quite a bit. Alright, so we'll start with a curve, bring this up to about there, and then start curving it. So what I want to do with this then, we can see it's 152 meters up that way. If we could get 152 this way, that'd be kind of nice. And we can match the dotted line to go parallel to that black line, boom. And then we'll follow this up with a straight line. So we're actually slightly off. I'm going to have to redo that straight away. I'll try not to be too finicky with this stuff, but just at the very, very early onset of it, don't want to be making mistakes right out the gate. Big ones anyway. Alright, I'll go to about there. That's on the black line. Although we have to go just slightly above the black line because it does rise. Now, obviously we can reshape and change these things. The great thing about this game is the road tools are super dynamic. Get to about there. A little change in elevation is not really a problem. And we'll follow this around now with a straight line. Snap it so it's 180. I'll just leave it there. It's a good spot. The next one then is we're going to create one that goes along this black line here. Again, it doesn't have to be super uber precise. So something like that's totally fine. Thankfully, the roads in this game can handle little junctions like this. And we'll bring this to about here, curve it along here. Just makes the curves a little bit neater, so the turning radius is the same all the way around, I guess. Want a straight line now, just for this bit here, and then we'll start curving it again. I think that's basically what I want. Alright, we'll straight line this for a little bit. And now, we have that little highway there that I want to kind of bring this up and around to and connect it. This will create this sort of closed loop for our outer arterial road. Alright, there we go. A little bit better. So I think I was getting a little too crazy with the curve there. When I straightened it out, it worked a lot better. Alright, so there we go. That's our general closed loop. Little weird, I know, but it's matching the topography. We're respecting the topography. City Planner Plays will be very happy about that. Alright, so next thing we're going to start with some smaller roads and actually start working out where the commercial area is going to go, as well as the actual row housing for estates. We're going to have these like very compact little estates in this area. So one of the first things though I'd like to do is just follow this kind of black line. It does curve a little bit too much for my liking. We're going to straighten it up a bit. So what I'll do is start with over here where the line is straight, or the road is straight. Grab this. Might actually do snap to zoning cell length. It's worth doing when you are trying not to break your own zones. So we'll just bring this all the way over. Keep it at that 90-degree angle. Yeah, it gives us continuous zones all the way across. If you snap to the middle of a road, it can actually throw off the zones by a half zone, right? And that's why things get really messed up. So I think starting at this point then, we'll just bring this in. Bring it all the way straight to about there. Then we want to give these guys a way out. or a way in, if you want to think of it that way. Let them curve and join their buddy over here. So 64 and 79. Let's get it to 72 and 73. That's good enough, right? I think that's fine. Cool. All right, cool. So we're starting to make a bit of a grid inside. That's the idea. So yeah, what do we do next? Let me think about it. Well, I guess we need the commercial zone first, right? So we'll find a spot here where we'll bring this up by 2. So we're creating a gap of maybe 2 zone cells inside. We're coming in at a 90-degree angle, so that should be fine all the way across again. It looks like the gap gets wider though. I don't know why that would be, because they're both coming in from the same road at 90 degrees. So I might just work on that just for a second to make sure that is nice and tidy. There we go. Yeah, just something to do with the guidelines. Obviously it was a little bit off, but now it's a little bit more neat. Okay, so now we want these series of row houses. So what we're going to do is, in this game, we've got a zoning length of 6, right? There's 6 little grids, 6 cells that go across. We're going to intersect one. I want the houses to be 5 deep on either side. So we're going to cross over one, and then what I'll do is I'll build a path that goes through these estates. And we'll go to about there. So it's going to be a series of these in a row. All the same length, hopefully. Alright, cool. So very compact indeed. And then every second road, we'll just create a straight road that comes down to create a sort of that commercial area vibe that we want. Good. Alright, now we'll make a little mini suburb in this patch that we have over here. I know there's a lot of forest there, but we can go further to get more trees for industry in the future, so I'm not too worried about that. We can get rid of the ones that are right here. But I actually don't know where the resources are, so hopefully we're not destroying anything too important. So just bring this all the way over till we hit about 3 zones. Keep it at 90 degrees, please. Thank you. Alright, and then we'll use the curve tool. Maybe using this branch point here. Bring this up to maybe 144 and bring it across to 144 if we can. That's 145. This should work really nicely actually, because it leaves 5 zones here for the row housing, and then we could have a path that goes straight through it. Alright. Bring this down. We'll do something similar, although it's not going to be as wide. So 112 is our length there. Can we go across to 112? Alright, there we go. Now, I'll teach you a little trick in a minute to clean up zones like this, but we're not going to do it until we actually start zoning things and doing some pathways. So, that's kind of our residential area covered, commercial area in the center. We have our outer road. So this is a very small town that we're dealing with here. We're just in 1 tile right now. Well, I guess technically it's actually 3 tiles, 3 by 3, but to give you an idea that it's quite small. All right, so next up we want to do the actual industrial area. So let's turn back on a lot of these. We're going to bring this road straight over to the right. We've got another sort of flat plateau right here. So I think that would be good for factories and things, and it's close to the river, blowing all that pollution away from this area. So there we go, 90-degree angle, stretching all the way across. Boom, no problem with that. Not really anyway. So something I'd like to do is now make this road go straight along with this one, so it's more grid-like. But we'd have to continue this out. So let me just try something real quick. Yeah, so that gives us a much more straight road now to work with, and just have neater zoning on the inside. So we're going to be putting down a power plant, which is bigger than 2 zones combined. I think it's 14 across, so we'll just have to think about that for width. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that layout. You know, we could do more with it. I'm going to add another final road here, and then we can finally start to actually bring in our first building. So the last thing I want to do is create an area just roughly a bit further away from that commercial area to our left. And bring this road all the way straight down. In fact, we're going to get rid of this one just for a sec. So starting about here, 2 zones in. Yeah, bring this down. And I want it to just pretty much straight up merge with what's in front of us. So it's just going to merge straight onto this one. Although we'll make it a one-way. So that's a one-way road to get out onto the other side. That's 180 degrees. Okay, and then we're going to do a similar thing here, right where the road begins its bend. So probably, maybe actually where the zoning kind of messes up a bit. We'll turn this to curved, go straight forward and connect it in there as the first connection point, but then curve it and keep it on the left side of the road. Something like that. So now we have this one-way access onto that main road out that way. This one would have to cross some streets. So this one's going to have traffic lights and things, or at least stop signs. And when we get some more road tools, we can change it a little bit. So the last thing then, I just want to connect that road back up over here. Make that 90 degrees. Right, so it just becomes a one-way if you're taking a right-hand turn for them. Or if you're just continuing on, it becomes that one way to get out. That's the idea there. A little bit complicated, but it's nice to mess around with some more complicated stuff. One last thing then we'll do just before we actually let things go. That's going to be a roundabout. We're going to have a lot of roundabouts in this one because, of course, we are sort of in England. Oh, yeah, this needs to connect over here. How could I forget? Definitely need another way out. After making that a one-way. There we go, better. That's so weird that it affected the zoning over there. All right. Yep, so that's going to be roundabout. Bonk. Next roundabout will be here. That one there. Don't know if we need any more. This road can go. That'll probably be one, actually, thinking about it. And maybe here. Alright, so some of our roundabouts are in place. I did forget to do one last thing, which is pathways. So I'll just do that really quickly. Alright, so there we have it. So there's my pathway. So I wanted to make it kind of random, as they're going to be sort of alleyways that appear between houses. We'll have a look at it in moments when they actually come in. The last thing I want to do is actually just fix some of our zoning using the pathway tool. So this is actually a nice trick that you can do to kind of shape zones a little bit better to how you want them. So what we can do is, I think these houses are probably going to be 4x4. So I'm just going to put a path in here at the back. And as you can see, that's changing zoning already. Now, I don't think I'm going to use any of this. So just really quickly, I'm just going to do something like that. And that creates much bigger plots for us to work with here. And similarly, I would say that this can go straight across this way. And these paths are going to be removed once these houses actually come in, and they should stay that way. So I'm also just going to build another one along here, just to cut the zoning off from this area. And you can see it extends the plots quite nicely. Just do this as well with them. Changes the plot shape. So I think, anyway, it might not be perfect, but I'm pretty sure I've done this in the past where we can get rid of some of these pathways then, and things like zoning should actually behave itself and stay just fine. So yeah, we'll have to give it a shot and see how it happens. So yeah, pretty happy with that. We'll remove some of those paths like I mentioned. It's just temporary for now. And this can come across this way as well, just to allow these houses to come in a bit more too. Alright, I think we're finally ready to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is actually build our services and utilities, right? So electricity. I'm going to go with a small coal power plant. It gives us 20 megawatts low and high voltage. It should be more than enough to actually allow us to sell some electricity back to the grid. And I was going to place it just somewhere in over here. Seems like a decent spot for it. Oh, I'm after coming in a little too, not far enough. I'll have to change that actually, just slightly. And there we go. So we have these power lines here that have to be drawn away. Now, there's two ways you can do it. You can just grab a power line, obviously, extend it across, and it's totally fine. I mean, it stretches right over the road, but it actually doesn't matter. But I'm actually just going to sink it down underground by pressing page down, and just connect it pretty much straight over here. So it's kind of cheating a little bit, but we're just going to feed those cables underground and off the map, just like that. So that way we are still exporting our electricity. Next thing I want to do is actually just build a road that goes across this. Create another junction here. Alright, there we go. So that's our first utility. The next utility, we're going to make, obviously, a water pumping station. I guess it's not that obvious. There are groundwater aquifers, I think, that you can actually pump, but we've just built right over the one that we have. That's totally fine. I don't really like these. They actually get used up if you put too many groundwater pumping stations on them, so it's kind of a guessing game of how much you can pump out of it and stuff. Like, it does tell you the usage, the output, but I don't know. It's a little messy. It feels like you have to pay attention to it too much. So a water pumping station is totally fine by me, especially if you start changing things in the budget panel, by the way. So yeah, we'll just pop this somewhere down here. And just like that, we've unlocked milestone 1. Your efforts are bearing fruit. Your city has taken its first steps towards success. 600 grand, 1 development point, 3 permits to expand. So for those who don't know, you expand your map by going out to the map tiles and then just purchasing them. We've just unlocked 3 tiles that we can do. You can do them in anywhere you want and just purchase them. We're going to leave it. Just going to make sure that that's undone. Yep. We're going to leave it. We'll expand later. Probably not even today we'll expand. We don't need to. But we have a development point, which is important. And what we're going to get first off is roundabouts. You know it. After that, we'll get advanced road services. Alright, so let's get this road to link up. I'm going to start somewhere here. Bring this down and along like so. Alright, and that's our water pumping station. Of course, power and electricity travels... Sorry, power and water and sewage travels on your road network. So if we check the infographics, we can see the 2 types of pipe. The yellow one is for wastewater, the blue one is for freshwater. So everything's just connected automatically with the roads. They're not connected via highway, so you have to. That's why you'd need these power lines that stretch across longer distances, or bespoke pipes that you build yourself. You can build a dual combined pipe, or you can have separate pipes if you want to. And that's the last thing we're going to do, actually, is grab our sewage outlet. So the water is flowing down the river this way, away from the mountains, of course, so we'll just put our outlet somewhere far away. This doesn't need a road connection, but the other ones do. The water pumping station does. So we'll just put a wastewater pipe, feed it into our network somewhere there. That's totally fine. That's done. Okay, so that is water, that is sewage, and that is power. Next up, zoning. So we'll just actually start to zone these areas, and when people start moving in, then we can do some of that roundabout action I was talking about. So let's do these houses here. I said they're going to be 4x4 plots. We're going to go to about there. Unfortunately, this little area is missing too because of the way the road curved, but I think we'll just have to deal with it. Not everything's going to be super uniform. In fact, we could mirror it if we wanted to get rid of those two, but no, I'll just leave it. It's fine. Right, we'll do the same here and here. Alright, so that's all of our low density sort of suburban houses built, at least over there. Next up, we're going to go with the E medium density row housing. So to avoid having the... If I was just to zone this entire area, some of the houses are going to build off of this road, right? They're going to latch onto this road instead. So what I'm going to do is just start it, just pushed in 1 tile. And that should allow the houses to build in the order and the rows that I want, and then we'll just add these in at the final, and then there's no other option for the zoning but to build that way. So that should work out for us as well. Alright, so that's all of our medium row density housing built in there. We're going to start doing a little bit of commercial zones now. So normally this legend would tell you where your customers are, and that's a problem a lot of people have in the game. It's like, oh, not enough customers. You got to build it on some orange or green terrain. If you're building it on white terrain, you're not going to have any. Now, we're just starting the game, and it takes a while for people to move in and it to calculate how many customers are in an area. It's not as quick as it tells you other things. It takes much more time for it to let you know where the customers are, because I think it's based on wealth and everything like that. So it can take quite a while. So I'm just going to kind of have an educated guess about where I think it's going to be. So we're just going to zone commercial in this area. This is probably going to be... We're probably going to have healthcare and maybe some parks or something. This is pretty much all going to be commerce as well, but I'd like to have some pathways, but I don't know where the paths are going to go. I'm thinking that we'll have a police station and a fire station. I'd like the pathway to cut down somewhere before those things happen, but we can at least put 1 in for now, maybe just coming down this way. And we'd have some going along the back, like so. Now that doesn't feel like a 90-degree angle, but apparently it was. Alright, cool, there we go. And we could have trees or something going along the back of those as well. Alright, should we leave it at that? I think that's fine. Last thing would be just a little bit of industry. So we could just do maybe 1 or 2 pockets here of local industry. Probably be good just to continue that road down and create little mini grid area. Now, again, to change the zoning here, just slightly, let's try this out. I'm just going to use a path tool. We can see that this is latching on from all different directions. So what I'll try is just cut this. And now they're much more even. Now let's see what happens if I get rid of it and try again. Hey, we're even the whole way down. So the theory works. Barely, but it does. So now we're matching the kind of estate across from us, if that makes sense. Alright, nice. Now, things can still break in the future. You can build a road and then it says that your zoning changed, so you never know. But should be good enough. Alright, let's let time play. It's been long enough. 8 a.m. June 2023. First people are starting to move in. The first factories are starting to get built. What have we got here? 55 Hickory Street. Doesn't actually know what company's in there just yet, but the building's going in first. New and old customers. Find us at 161 Cozy Street. Ducky Toy. Some commerce. Yes. Alright, cool. So we'll just speed up time. Once some of these houses come in, then I'll be comfortable to remove some of the temporary pathways we made. But while we're waiting, I'll just keep it on medium speed, actually. We've unlocked roundabouts. What I want to do now is get a medium-sized roundabouts for these medium-sized roads. Like so. And that can actually mess with zoning as well, but we should be okay, I think. At least in these areas. Nothing too directly affected just yet. Alright, good. Don't think we want to... Oh, a large roundabout could be used actually up here, where it is kind of a highway connection. It's a little bit of a weird one. And then this road that's coming off in that angle, it's probably going to go in a different direction altogether. Depends on the topography. We'll have a look at it in future. New bar is opening up, Yaksu. Oh, actually, I didn't realize. We've already unlocked healthcare. Yeah, so we've reached our first milestone, right? We've become a tiny village. That's given us map tiles, some more loan limit potential. The city budget panel is unlocked. Statistics are unlocked. We have medium density row housing and medium density for the North American style. We have new types of roads. Medical, so we've got healthcare and death care, medical clinic, cemetery, garbage management now, landfills and landfill tools. So I'm not going to use a landfill. We've been doing a stream and I didn't have pretty much any garbage. It was actually handled by trucks coming... Hang on, I got to see this plane. There it is. By trucks coming in and out of the city. And it seemed to work just fine for us. So I'd rather do that. I don't have to deal with the pollution or anything. We might build a recycling center or something, but no landfill. If we can avoid it. Alright, we have our first takers. Coming in nice and smooth. So what we're going to do with the roads now is make some asymmetrical roads. So we've got a 5-lane asymmetrical road. So approaching a roundabout. Now typically it's only really necessary if you're going to have 4 exits. There's only 3 exits on this roundabout. Really, it feels like just 2 for the person coming on, because typically you're not going to double back on yourself. So it's not that necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway, which is add this upgrade here. It creates 3 lanes on one side and just keeps the 2 on the other side. And that way, we have the far left lane for just going straight. The middle one is kind of an optional straight or to the right, because of course there's 2 lanes here, so you could end in the middle lane. Or you could take a right-hand turn if you're on the inside lane, ending up in there. So you want to do this on roundabouts all the way around. But just only facing the direction towards the roundabout, right? The asymmetry goes towards the roundabout. I've confused that car. He's like, oh my god, what do I do? But no, he'll be fine. They'll be fine. Alright, we can continue this all the way so it doesn't look so weird. So that's kind of nice. So as you come off the highway, you go, yep, I'm in one of 3 lanes. Plenty of time to make your last-minute ditch choice when you realize you're in the wrong one. Okay. This can actually go the other way now. Maybe? We could do that. Don't have to, but let's try it out. So we're creating asymmetry here where the dividers kind of change, but you can take that lane if you want to just go into the left-hand turn straight up, or the other 2 are for going straight. The only issue with that is they kind of have to just slightly nudge themselves over to the left a bit. That's fine. All right, I'm just going to do this in a few other roundabout places. So we'll just do one there, one there. This roundabout's having issues with this. Saw this before, actually. When you're building a roundabout on an area that was just curved, you get this little patch here that you can't get rid of properly anyway. So we'll just do this again, see if we can feed this road in. So we'll get that 5-lane asymmetric road. We'll get the curve. But it's going to change how my curve worked, I guess. Shouldn't be too bad, though. I'll just bring that right into the center. Okay. Right, now we could just try and upgrade that again. So basically, on the approach is where you want your asymmetry. Something like that. So just as the bend starts, you can kind of get into that other lane and then go around. Alright, just keep letting time play. We should be fine with the other areas now because they won't be curving. You sort of have to decide which one keeps the longer lanes for longer, but you can actually determine that based on traffic flow in the future. Can't do the same with this one because it's the same sort of situation. That roundabout's being built on a curve. Alright. That should be the last time we have to do that, I think. Oh, alright, cool. People are starting to move in. Things are looking good. These trees will all go away. We'll build some fresh ones of our own soon. I might do that in between episodes because that can be a little bit tedious, but then over a little bit of time, we'll start to see it all come in. So a lot of demand for low-density residential demand. The bars indicate which types of zones are currently needed for your city. The demand is different depending on the situation of the city. So availability of jobs, unoccupied buildings and happiness is lower for whatever, for types of for them wanting to move into things. So we currently have unreliable healthcare, spacious homes though at the moment, wealth plus 12, so people are generally fairly happy as they're coming into the city. We have 30 people living here now. We have our budget panel, but we do not have taxation yet, so we can't actually change anything or influence things too much. One thing I'd like to do though is just start building the medical center. So we have a medical clinic, basic healthcare for a small area, can pick up patients with ambulances. It's $60,000, we'll just call it dollars. To build. I guess you know what, we'll call it pounds because we're supposed to be in the UK here, so pounds. 60,000 pounds to build this. It's 105,000 upkeep. So basically, it tells you per month the upkeep, but in the bottom panel down here, it tells you your current hourly rate. So it's a little inconsistent in my opinion. So if we go 105,000 divided by 24, our hourly burn rate of this building would be 4,300. So it's kind of expensive, seeing as we're only at negative 700 now. It's going to be fairly large negative here, but we'll just pop it down right here. Good spot for it, I think. Near the commercial zones. Fits in behind that pathway that we had there, so we could actually continue that pathway. And if we wanted to continue it all the way across, we could actually get that crosswalk going as well. Like so. Bring this maybe up to here. Very uniform indeed. Normally I like to offset these or make like a step so one comes down and then goes across or something, but we'll leave it. It's all good. Okay, so yeah, that's our healthcare clinic. Beautiful. So basically, it already has some pharmaceuticals stored in there, 10 kilograms. It's got 9 out of 12 employees. We can see the breakdown of the education requirements for this building. It's actually just gotten 12 out of 12, so everyone's got a job there now. 3 people are well educated. So unlike City Skylines 1, people do arrive to your city very early on that actually have education. You're not starting with everyone poorly educated. So you don't have to take as long to ramp up. It does skew heavy. You definitely have a higher volume of people arriving on the lower tiers. It's not like you just have tons of people arriving that are well educated, but just thought I should make the point that at least some of the positions get filled early on. All right. Now, we can see row housing is appearing. We don't actually have any demand for it, but that's because as soon as demand appears, someone is buying a plot of a house or building one and then moving in. So we're totally fine there. Could do a bit more for the industrial side of things. So again, these zones are fairly disjointed and quite broken up. So something we could try is maybe bringing this in a bit further. So let's go with the regular road. Let's do a straight road. Don't know how weird this is going to be, but we'll see what this does. So what I'm going to try is maybe keeping a path on this side. So that keeps our zoning free on the left. Here, we're going to cut the zoning completely on this side of the road, because we want people to be working on the inside. So something like that. We can break this bit. That just helps things a little bit. The other one I'd say we could possibly get away with is breaking the zoning here. So yeah, let's try work with that, I guess. We could also maybe bring this up. Join it in there. Alright, so just cleaner buildings, I think, generally speaking. So let's start zoning some of that industry. So we do have a factory here that would be still attached to that. But that's not too bad, just 1 or 2. Just don't want to clog up the main arterial road with too many things. What you could also do is just build a little alleyway off of this, perhaps. We could try that. Let's get a little... No, actually, the pathways are... You know what? Yeah, let's just get a little creative. Just even here at the very beginning, a little bit. So, if we take the alleyway, a narrow 2-lane road without sidewalks, this can actually snap onto just one side. And we can bring this straight out. Just to there. And then, if we take that path and bring this down here, the zoning is now on this alleyway. So, that works. And it's probably a little bit better, because I didn't really like things going onto the arterial road. A little bit is okay, but too much, not good. Alright, yeah, so we can fill that in. And you might even be able to fit that tiny, tiny little pathway through there. If we turn... Oh, we didn't even need to turn off zoning. Or, grids, I mean. Yeah, fits between them nicely. So this one goes up along the back. We could maybe connect in there. And this can probably be removed now, and hopefully nothing will break. Seems good to me. Except for all the level of details I've broken. Let's turn off snapping just for a second. We're going to get this and bring this down. And then we can put some trees or something along there. So there we go. Just, I don't know, it's a little more efficient use of space, I think, and also neater. So I'm happy enough with that. We have more demand already, so we'll just zone this as well. So lots of industries popping up. We're loving it. Let's keep speeding up time. How are we doing? We're well on our way to the next milestone, which is small village. So we have a cemetery. One of my pet peeves of this game is that the cemetery and a lot of buildings are massive. So we're not going to build it. I'm going to wait till we get a crematorium. So there's nothing really we can do about that. Is there anything else I could build to ease time? Oh yeah, I wanted to put this, make this a roundabout. So there's still a few things I need to do like that. So medium-sized roundabout there. Yeah, we can get rid of the pathway here. That was just temporary. Our housing plots have moved in now. That's a very big one. We just want a mini-sized one like that. Medium-sized. And that has the 3-lane asymmetric road leading right up to it, so that's totally fine. And then the inverse is true, heading out of the city.
You're listening to Second
All right,
Moon,
good.
epitome of classical listening at home, or
Great, this one.
Interesting news from the city's
And that one. So now, the nice thing here, actually, is you remember we have this single lane coming out this way. And they have to cross the traffic to join. But now we've opened up a third lane. So the idea would be that these 2 lanes, you're just traveling along fairly straight, right? You just have to curve over a little bit. And then these guys come out and they just should more seamlessly merge, obviously when the lights turn. So this will be green for everyone going straight, and that'll be green for them, I would hope. I hope they don't get stopped to let them out, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not too sure. With mods, certainly in the future, things that you could do in City Skylines, excuse me again, sorry. Things that you could do was time traffic lights and change how it works yourself. So while we don't have the ultimate flexibility in this, I'm sure it'll be probably fine. All right, we'll get rid of some of these pathways now. There we go, look at that. We've got pretty nice little housing plots in here now. Nice little suburban area. Quite happy with that. It's actually really worked out. Oh, cool. What's this? Oh, it's a standing stone. Yeah, we saw this actually before. I just didn't recognize it for a second. I thought it was like a dead tree. It almost looks like white birch, but it's really thick, obviously. There's a couple of those out in a little mini park area. So we could actually make a little pathway that wraps around here. It could look kind of nice. And we're still just waiting on more and more people to move in. So yeah, I think we're good to zone all of this commercial. This bit here. I'm going to reserve this area for perhaps doing parks. What else could we do? Yeah, actually down here could be commercial as well. And very similarly, we're going to just change the zoning just slightly, like so. I want to make sure they build off of... We'll see where they latch onto. I guess it's not really a big concern, but I'd like them to latch onto this part of the road, not this one. All right, again, more industry popping up. I need to see the size of the crematorium building. We're close to the next milestone, though. We're getting little dings all the time as people are moving in. All right, so let's plug this gap in here as well. Milestone 2 unlocked. Boom. 700,000, 2 development points, 4 expansion permits. So, the reason I did that, and is it straight? It seems straight. This would be very awkward coming in off this roundabout, I admit. And is that a medium-sized one? Yes. But we're not going to let them turn right. It's only for people who are traveling along this way can turn left onto that road. Yeah, that seems okay. Now we're latching onto the proper side. So I've changed it. We're just using an alleyway instead. I think that's probably better. I'm not going to connect to there. It is too close to the roundabout. I thought maybe it'd be okay with a few other rules in place, but it's fine. Something else I want to do as well quite frequently is 3-lane asymmetric roads. We're approaching this roundabout from a small road. We can still give it a second lane so it can turn either left or right. So the left lane actually allows you to go left or around and left, or the inside lane just takes you to the inside, to the right. But that's totally fine. It should just give people, again, more options when they're filtering onto a roundabout. I think it'll work out better. You want to do that in a few different spots, actually. So like there, another one there. Don't think I really want to do it on the residential streets. We could, and it would actually eliminate a lot of the parking, which is a bit of an eyesore. But it's a bit strange on a residential street. It's a shame I can't just tell to do just this little bit here. You could probably do it if you change the road layout a little bit. It's quite a lot of effort. I think I'll probably just leave it. If it needs it, then we'll give it to it. Yeah, that probably makes more sense. All right, our row housing is coming in quite nicely. So we've just got 2 more development points. Let's heading it back over there. Advanced road services, yes please. And healthcare, crematorium. So now we can start to actually get some different proper buildings placed. We've also just unlocked education, so we can build a school. All right, so the crematorium, I was thinking, if we have a look at that first, could go in somewhere here. Right around there. I don't see why not. Looks like we're aligned with the bottom edge. 240,000 pounds and 500 XP. Boom, just like that. So they're going to be loving it. I mean the town. Loving the access to burial rights and death rights or whatever. So next thing then, we'll bring a road in this way and we'll make a school at the end of this street here. Let's bring this all the way over. Pretty much all the way to the end there. Alright, and we'll throw in a school. So it's just an elementary school. Straight up like that. People are loving that. A lot more than the crematorium. The kids are loving this one. And then we'll throw in the playground for them. The activities provided by the playground bring increased well-being to citizens. So 5% well-being for students, 10% well-being within 300 meters. So it is a little, because it's on the side of the town, probably not an optimal placement to give everyone the well-being they need, but I don't really mind. We're going to build out this way in the future as well, and down this way. So this is really just to serve this community, to be honest. 1,000 potential students here, or capacity. A little playground out the back for them to hang out. Fenced, so hopefully safe from the main road there. You can see we're actually deforming the terrain just a little bit. Next thing we're going to do, grab an alleyway again. I think it'll be good here. Just bring this alleyway up like that. That connects onto the building nicely. I'm not going to build any of the other modules. The other one is the clinic that can extend on. It's too big, and plus I don't think they need it. We're close to a medical clinic anyway. It does give you 5% health for students. Extension wing can just be built on top of itself, so that's totally fine. We'll upgrade it if needs be. Down here, I thought we could just add in a few extra houses, but to do so, we'll have to cut off. Again, we're going to do this a lot in this series, I guess. Just use the path tool again to cut off some of those houses. Or cut off some of the zoning. So I'm just going to use the regular low density here. I'll do by 4. And they built on the correct angle as well, so I'm happy about that. We can get rid of this now. Good. Alright, there we go. I'm pretty happy with how things are coming along. Quite neat, I feel like, and people are moving in all the time. We're actually just past 1,000. We're gaining 178. We're losing money hand over fist though, but we have just unlocked taxation. Gonna lower taxes quite a bit. 6%. Increasing them here maybe to 14. Quite high on the commerce and industrial. Now the reason I'm doing that is to do with how houses upgrade in this game. So the level is 1 out of 5. Money that is left over after paying rent and upkeep is used by the occupants to level up the building. If the occupant's wealth declines, the building may end up being abandoned. Higher level residential buildings have higher upkeep costs, but they also consume less water and electricity and produce less garbage. Residential wealth is based on the resident's employment situation and job level. So the interesting thing there is, if you give people more money, it actually reduces the upkeep costs and the import of stone and things like that, I assume, because that's part of the upkeep. So it's just like, give people more money, they take care of their own houses and stuff better, they level up, and therefore it costs you less. Don't know how it really works out overall, but if we can just level them up to the point where they're fairly leveled up, then we can increase taxes again a little bit to make some of the money back after they become development and the upkeep costs become cheaper. The thing is, though, very weirdly, you set taxes based on education level, not on density of houses, which is strange. I wish you could do it based on income. Either based on income or the density of houses that you're sorting out, because density is now broken down between all these different types, and largely you can kind of tell who's going to move into what. I think in this game, well, it kind of depends on land value, I suppose. People will move into the dense part of the city that's expensive if they have a lot of money, but also they'll typically, you would expect them to live out in the suburbs if they, you know, have a nice big plot, a 5x5 grid space home out in the suburbs, you'd want to be fairly wealthy to have that. But I suppose you'd want to be fairly wealthy to live in like a Manhattan-style bougie apartment. Well, I'm not sure how the game really calculates that stuff or how it works that out. Because you could argue that, well, living in an apartment, you're probably just renting. A lot of people, I imagine, who live in Manhattan and stuff aren't the ones that are super rich. They're the ones that work nearby, and they get paid probably decently, but a lot of that just goes to the rent and stuff, I would assume. Anyway, we're going off on a bit of a tangent there, but that's just basically why I want to give people more money in their pockets to kind of level their houses up, effectively. We can kind of keep track of citizens' wealth over time, and it'll tell us down here how wealthy they are. +7 at the moment, spacious homes, fair taxes, abundance of leisure time, good educational services. We just unlocked a signature building as well. And I didn't actually see what the requirements were for. I think it's for having a certain amount of row housing. It's called Vertigo Square. It's a 1x1, or sorry, not 1x1, 1x4. Which I don't even know if I can latch it onto the road I'm trying to, which is here. Yeah, I can't seem to turn it. For some reason, but that's where we want it. There we go. Yeah, 1x4. Quite a tall building though. It doesn't really fit the aesthetic, but we'll save it. We can only place them once, so we'll save it for some time that we have some dense area that it could fit in. The nice thing now as well, actually, is we can get the medium density again and just go along this way anywhere there is houses now, because we know that they'll fill in correctly.
You can now shop for designer shoes while sipping a fancy local.
Interesting.
All right, so it's getting kind of dark, so we'll brighten up the day just by turning off the day-night visuals. And then it's, you know, it's nearly 9 p.m. When it gets to about 6, 7 a.m., we'll turn back on, because the city can look quite nice depending on the different time of day and the weather effects and things like that. So let's see, what else? We've just unlocked ourselves the road services. So we have a road maintenance depot, which can actually keep your roads condition good. So the road condition color is here. And we can see it's already starting to deteriorate on places that are kind of busy. So we would like to have a road maintenance depot. I think I'm going to place it somewhere over here, but I'll have to do some terraforming. It'll take me a minute. So before we do that, we're also going to just clean up some of the crazy amount of cars on the roads. So what we can do to help that along is, well, one thing, yeah. We'll go into our roads tool, we'll open up the road services, which you just unlocked, and add some patches of grass along the edges here. So on the left side, just like so, and then we'll add trees on top of that. Didn't mean to do it on that side. Now, we'll also want to provide parking when we unlock it, but we haven't unlocked it yet. Next thing is, I don't want people parking right on top of the clinic. The weird thing in this game is that these places come with car parking spaces. Every building does. It's actually a complaint a lot of people have, is there's so many car parks. My complaint would be that nobody uses them. They park at the side of the road. Just go in there. Go in, park, go into the building. You know? She's getting out here. I don't know if you're going in there or not, but she's got her dog with her. But you know what I mean? I'd just like to see people using these places more. You do see it occasionally. But to be fair, no one's actually really in here. There's 3 patients anyway, so it's probably just the people that work there that are parking there right now. But I feel like if you give them no other option but to do it, they will. So that's why I'm taking away the access to roads by making wide side, the access to side street parking by making wide roads. So we know that a lot of people are going to be coming in off of this road, coming in and then turning left. I don't want lots of cars parked here. So we're going to bunch that up with wide sidewalks. Now we could put some maybe grass, but no trees. Just a little bit of something cleaner there. Although I feel like for a more densely populated area, probably wouldn't have grass. Anyway, it doesn't matter. One of the last thing as well, just going to upgrade this to be a 3-lane asymmetrical road, just like that. So you can take your left or go straight. Do we need to change that anywhere else? I would say yes, because you're not going to be taking a left much more. So keep doing that to there. Yeah, that just gives people more options as they come into the city if they're taking this road in, which a lot of people probably are. The other option is to go that way and around and through some of the estates. Not very good. Of course, this is a highway. People are coming in this way too, so you got to think about that. All right. And I would think about that. I would say that... Is that complicating things too much? No, not really. That should be fine as well. And it also eliminates parking, so I just feel like that's quite nice. Alright, cool. So what do we have demand for? Lots of commerce, lots of industry, and lots of regular housing. They'll take the other housing though if they got no option, I feel like, so we'll just leave them. Now I'm just wondering, so the crematorium actually wasn't as big as I thought. How big does it get at the back? We have a hearse garage. It won't fit on the side. I don't know if we'll ever need that. Additional incinerator. You know what? We'll just bring this road straight up. I was unsure of that initially, but I'm fairly sure of it now. So we got another block in here for industry, which I think would be totally fine. And we'll maybe make a pathway that just goes straight through the back. And just to break it up somewhat, just to be kind of look a bit more interesting, give people some options where they come in and out, do something like that. And then we'll just zone this to be industry. More jobs. Our new facility at 42 Heather Street for onshore has open positions. Open jobs, hashtag work. I'd love to make my own company in the game. That'd be kind of cool, because the really cool thing in this game, one of my favorite aspects, is the names make sense with the billboards and the signs that you have. So for instance, if we zoom in, we can see Caper, and then something else that says TNS. So Teak Stool Co. So that logo fits the name of the name of this particular shop. The next one to our left, I'm seeing Avatsu, right? And then we see also signs for Bent Zell. So yeah, there we go. Ivatsu. So that's the name of the building. Ivatsu on 112 Foggy Street. Cars for the future. So they're selling vehicles. Next one over, Ocean Port Pharmaceuticals. They're doing pharmaceuticals. We can see the Ocean Port sign right there. So I just love stuff like that. So it'd be cool to make my own sign. Content, like make a content creator house or something. But no, I don't know, make a game development studio. Something like that. Something cool. And yeah, then you can have it kind of represented in the game. Of course, we need modding tools to be able to do this. So looking forward to that kind of thing being a possibility for the future. Alright, so I think I'm going to get to work on this sort of service area here. We're going to build a road maintenance depot out this way. The problem is, probably have to time-lapse it just really quickly, because it's a lot of terrain deformation going on. It's going to be a little awkward placing this one. So, going to pause time, get rid of this road, and start working on this area now. Alright, there we have it. That's the road maintenance depot now in position. We have our first road maintenance vehicles now rolling out to go patch up the roads. This is just a little... Oh, just like that. Milestone 3 unlocked. Another 800,000, 3 development points, and 5 expansion permits. Not bad. Things are looking good. Yeah, so, this is just a little alleyway that I decided to bring all the way down here, because I think we'll probably also go with the park maintenance depot. So I think if I could just rush towards that area now, that'd be great. We need to get to Grand Village before we do. So you got this little alley that comes in, and then another smaller alley that curls around down to the water pumping station. Tried to make the terrain look as decent as I could, a sort of cliff edge, but it's a little bumpy. It's not as smooth as I probably would have liked, but there's only so many hours in the day. I decided to hope that trees will largely obfuscate what's going on there. Wow, it looks like all of these vehicles are rolling out. 9 out of 10, just like that. And yeah, they kind of drive along the road and they stop periodically. So you'll see cars get kind of slowed down behind them as they're patching up the roads. But if we just take a real quick look at the infographic for roads very quickly. Yeah, so we can see that these ones are starting to have conditions not so good. Traffic and cars slow down. There's an increased chance of accidents and things. Yeah, so and weather make surfaces deteriorate over time. Lowered road condition forces traffic to slow down and increases the chance of road accidents. The other thing I was going to do with the extra tools we just unlocked was remove some of the crosswalks, right? So we've got these crazy crosswalks here. Don't need those. And out here as well. Don't need those. Now, the other thing we can do is these guys are joining out to this road here. Perhaps we could upgrade this to be an asymmetrical 3-lane on one side. So they get given their own lane on the way out. I think would work well for them. We could just continue that all the way around to that roundabout as soon as we need to anyway. So that actually make the roundabout bigger, but it worked. That's cool. So yeah, I love that. I think it's really, really neat the way we get to do that on both sides, approaching 2 different roundabouts. To me, it feels quite realistic being able to do that kind of thing. Maybe not this with the weird kind of crossovers. Now, you can actually remove the traffic lights and things and just hope for the best. They'll basically just have give way, you know, and they'll just come out and cross over if there's nothing really approaching on the left. Kind of dangerous, but maybe we can leave it and see what happens. Traffic lights here as well, totally not needed, I would say now, because you're just one way merging onto a different thing. So I think you're totally fine. Just give way. Just be careful. All right, so we've also unlocked now. Let's just check it out what we've just got. milestone-wise, we're at large village. We now have bespoke, specialized industry. We won't have time to set that up today, but livestock farming, stone mining, that kind of thing. And those can be placed anywhere. When you're actually building them, or selecting them, they'll show you deposits on the ground for fertility and for ore deposits. But a trick, it's something that always trips me up, is that they don't need that. They can be placed anywhere, and they're no more efficient to be placed on these deposits. Just these two categories. The other things need to be placed on them, but these two can be placed anywhere. So you can kind of get your own livestock and stone industry going regardless of where you are. So it's just worth knowing that. Alright, so the next things that we've also unlocked would be fire and rescue and police and administration. So we can finally open up to these categories, see what's going on. We have access to a firehouse and a police station. So we'll pop the police station down right here. Oh, it fits. I was really worried it wasn't going to fit without destroying some of the stuff at the back. Gave it a little extra space, actually. And then a firehouse right next to that. So that gives them the flexibility to kind of... They'll drive out this way, I think. And hopefully go out and go to where they need to, or get onto that road. They can still come down and take a left turn and go this way as well. Oh, they're coming out this way, actually. Maybe that's where they go in. Bring the boys into jail. And we're adding so many cars to the road. These are nice looking police vehicles, aren't they? Nice enough. Yeah, good for them. Little trick we're going to do as well. If you have developer mode enabled, which you can do by typing -developer mode in the Steam launch settings. But I would just Google it. Loads of people know how to do it. If you go press tab, open up the shaders, we can get rid of the white lines on the ground. Now they're actually quite useful for seeing the various lanes and where people go. But by removing them like this, we get much cleaner roads. Now I was saying on a stream of mine, I'd really like it if we could just tone it down, you know? I'm guessing in future you will be able to, but with mods or something. But if we were kind of calling that opacity 50% when the white was on the road, now it's at 0. Really great to bring it to like 5 or 10, just so it's very faintly there, but just not this like really in your face kind of looking thing. But yeah, we'll leave it off for the most part, but when I'm doing certain road layouts and things, I will be turning it back on just to see exactly where we're putting things down, making sure my roads are connected, especially with interchanges. Sometimes you just don't fully know until the last moment. Could we extend this a bit further, perhaps, and add a few more houses? Yeah, I don't see why not. We have the demand for it, and might as well use that space. Let's see if we can. So we'll just use a curve again. It's not going to be a full curve the whole way around, though, anymore. We could do something like this, maybe. And then with our pathway trick, we can maybe just eliminate some of those zones. That gives us more options. So these will be 3x3s. That's okay. Don't need to do it then. All right. Yeah, let's give some extra houses in here. Cool. All right. So what are we up to? 1,400 population. We now actually have taxes. Oh, no, we had taxes available. Yeah, that's all good. Services are now available. So we could change the budget on certain things. So healthcare, let's bring that way down. Bring it to about 80. Fire and rescue, bring that to about 80 as well. And police. I just reckon we don't need it until the city grows. So just save a little bit of money while we're burning some of that in the background. And we'd like to, we have access to a high school. I haven't built that either yet. Yeah, so I'm just going to go with the parking actually for now then. And we're going to add a few of these placed around, tactically placed. In fact, I think a good place for one would be actually on the way into the town here. So again, using my, I really love alleys. How big are parking lots? Well, actually, I need to look at how deep they are, not across, because I'm going to turn them sideways. This is 6 deep. Okay, that's not too bad. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 deep, and we start here. If we come in all the way up like that, our zoning, it's really difficult to see, but we're actually not placing it on the edge of the side of the road. So again, that's because of the way the zoning is working for us. Alright, there we go. Car park. Although we were kind of building on a bit of a hill, but it's not too bad. I've seen worse in real life, so I think it's probably fine. But what we could also do now is connect that alley to a little pathway. And it actually brings the car park out a bit too. I don't know if I like that or not, but I have seen that happen before. So you can actually then go in and set the parking fee. I would say quite low. $5. Even though the alleys don't have pathways, people... Oh my god, look, people are using it. And there's, what the hell is that? It's a moose. Okay. Well, good for him. I didn't know that was in the game. Just one lone moose on its own. Oh my god, watch out! Jeez! Oh, jeez. I don't know if this creates traffic accidents. No, I guess not. That's all good. Now, interestingly, because this is attached here, even though the arrows are pointing up and down, you'll see, look at the cars. They are breaking all the rules. They're just going straight in. But I actually kind of like that they do that, to be honest. That they don't have to wait for certain turns to get in there. So I might get rid of some of the crosswalks here, because I just don't think they're really that necessary. You can maybe keep that one and that one. Turn off the traffic lights. I think you're fine. Just pull in when you can, you know? Just use your common sense, damn it. Same kind of goes for some of these areas. Get rid of the traffic lights. So what do we have? Not enough customers already. I did see that earlier. I thought it would go away by now. They'll be fine. Actually, it depends on what they're selling. Food. They're selling meals and they require food. Alright, I'm just going to let time speed up just for a second because I need to think about what else I'm going to zone. I think more industry and more commerce is still needed, even though it says we've hit our limit for customers. We'll just put a little bit down here. Alright, there we go. Another block of industry. Elk Street and Heather Street. Outskirts Tannery. Bored at your old job or study and come to work with us. Outskirts Tannery. Where's that? Oh, it's the new building that we're putting down here. They're requiring livestock and making textiles. Oh, we've had our loading bug again. Alright, I'm going to make even more parking just down here because this one's filled up really quickly. I mean, it's totally full. So we can put another car park just right off behind it. I hope people don't mind right behind their houses is a big car park, but we'll put some trees up, maybe a fence. They wouldn't have to see it. It's great to see a lot of people using the car park, though. It's working pretty much instantly. I guess that's because we did take away a lot of their options when it came to parking in and around the commercial areas. In fact, I had only meant to do it on one side of the street, not on two. So let's maybe correct that just slightly so that they can get a little bit closer. So we can take away the... Oh no, that's because we made it a 3-lane road. Oh yeah. No, that's fine then. Whatever. I ain't changing that. Alright, we can actually take a moment to look at our houses that have all come in now. 4:20 a.m. And we have our copy-paste row housing in. With all their various little alleyways. It's so, the factory must grow. Yeah, it's like I'm playing an automation game or something. Alright, well we still have, we've actually got demand now for medium density residential, more commerce and more industry yet again. So I'm going to do something a little bit more creative here, hopefully. Which is put down some higher density housing. Just in this little patch here. So the way I wanted to do this... the way I've been thinking about doing it. I was thinking... yeah, so we've got no zoning on this road for whatever reason. So again, we have to do our little trick. We'll break the zoning here. Break it on the insides. Now we have it in here. Gonna try and reset it. Getting rid of these bits. And seeing what we've got. Yes, so now we can go with EU medium density housing. Do 4. 4. Ah, we're not given the other 4 though. Hang on, there's a way to get this right. I'm confident. The best I could get is this kind of thing. So it's 4, 3, and 3. Now I could make it 3, 3, and 3, but I think 4 deep is probably good. But we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. I just think it would get similar sized buildings that way and it'll look good. Just having a few of the high density, or sorry, medium density buildings like this, I think will be okay. I was thinking maybe 6 in total, so it's almost like a pre-approved little area of apartment blocks that you can kind of think of. And it encourages, you know, it's depends on what people need. So they're happy with their taxes and happiness. Same for both categories. It'll often tell you different things, like students will have a demand for that medium density or the, excuse me, the low rent density. So there we go, I actually see a little students, but we don't have any high school students yet. I would hope that no elementary school students are just living in there on their own, but they could be. Crime scene is just being committed. A crime has been committed, waiting for a hearse. The other things we could check, actually, now that we've built this place, is how is traffic, right? So traffic flow, pretty low. Kind of in the high 70s, maybe mid 70s. Now that's traffic flow. So that'll kind of tell you basically how well vehicles are able to get around. Road segments with bad flow are places where vehicles are forced to slow down frequently. The volume is the kind of the metric from the old game in a way, which is it shows you just the how much the road is being used and how many people are constantly on it. It's like the cars that are constantly on it. So the traffic volume indicates the number of vehicles using the roads. So obviously this one is very busy because it's coming in from the highway, so a lot of people using that one, and so with this one. But not much use on the other ones. Not too bad. It's right in the middle, you know, middle and low middle. So that's good. I'm happy enough with that. Just noticing a few things now around the area that I want to kind of clean up, which is little bits like this where people are parking on areas where I really feel like they shouldn't be. And then we've got them parking on these medium roads. So I don't know how to get rid of this other than just to make sidewalks wide, but it can be a bit strange doing that sometimes. It kind of forces the lanes to come in a bit. But, you know, from a distance then it looks kind of clear. But we do have technically really wide sidewalks now. And no one's going to be using that for parking. Parking here is totally good. I'm okay with that. We could make another row of commerce here. Don't want it to be massive. If we continue this straight over, in fact, we could do it from... We do it from here and just bring this straight down. That's 180 degrees. So if we break this away, you know the drill. It fixes our zoning a bit. We could fix it even better. Let's take this away from here. There we go. Alright, there we go. Reshuffled. Let's get that in. Now, this was actually, it's still near an area where it says not enough customers, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Oh my god, sorry, that was a severe autosave. I'm appalled at how healthcare is run in the city. Oh, would you stop? What are we on? Healthcare, the sick or injured are 13 out of a capacity of 100. We never, did I lower the healthcare budget? I feel like I may have actually, but I think it's fine. It's running at 84%, so that makes me feel like I did at some point lower it. Yeah, we brought it down to 80. So it's gaining a little extra percentage for efficiency. Where the hell did I just see that? There we go. Yeah, so it's gaining it from a happiness 7%. So its base level would be 107 if we kept the budget up. But because we've lowered the budget, it's kind of lower than it would otherwise be. I'm okay with that. I think it's fine. Crematorium's fine. Right, we're very close to leveling up. If I just wait and people keep continuing to move in, which they still are, even just albeit slowly, because we've built these extra blocks of houses here. I'm going to build another series of houses just behind this that are the exact same.
More after this.
And that should be it for our population today. Now, I think to break this area up, what I'll probably do is just use an alley again, rather than a full main road. Now, I've brought the alley all the way across, and obviously that's creating junctions and stuff really close by. So using the road services category of our road tools, we can get rid of those traffic lights there. We can actually just get rid of the crosswalks as well. And now it's just a little alley that's only ever going to get use based on the people that are moving in and out of these places, but hopefully they'll just walk most of the time. Occasionally we'll see the odd vehicle go in here to do road maintenance and stuff, but generally speaking I think we'll probably be fine. So I'm hoping now we can just bring this straight down, connect that over to the alley, bring this one down as well, and that gives us the same layout. So that actually worked out. Now we don't have any demand for this anymore, but I just thought it'd be good to have it ready to go in the future. Alright, I think the final thing I gotta do is do a little bit of extra industry. So we've got this big plot of land right here and up there that's available. I was thinking some sort of maybe a recycling center could fit up there, but down here we've got a pretty good amount of area to work with more industry. So let's begin. Alright, there we go. A little bit of extra industry has been zoned, and it's already moved in. We met all the demand for that pretty much instantly. Also created just a few extra little pathways around it to break things up a bit. There's still room for more. We can cram in a few extra factories there. At least they're quite close to this main arterial road, because I'm a bit worried, like it is a lot of industry in one spot. So the highways coming in, all these trucks that are coming in delivering goods and materials into these places or exporting them, depending on what it is. We've got rock coming in. Let's see where this guy's actually heading to. He's going to Milford. Just follow him. Unlike City Skylines 1, it doesn't actually show you the route that they're going to take. It just shows you the destination. I'm hoping they improve that in the future. Oh, wow. He's going... Oh, Milford's just a different town. So he's actually just driving through our town because he came in off the highway. Wow, he's got nothing to do with this place. Interesting that he's using my city. As we should put tolls on that highway if you're going to use my city for that. So how are we doing? We're really close to large village. We just have to wait for that to kind of tick on up and keep an eye on things. It's now 12:45, so I'm going to turn back on day-night visuals. Alright, just like that, I've just placed down a new car park and we've just earned ourselves $1 million, or £1 million, excuse me, doing that. 4 more development points and 6 expansion permits. So it's kind of a temporary car park. I say that because car parks can often just be placed down, again, to help you level up and stuff, and people will use them. This is on just a small little alley, but I was kind of thinking like, well, in future, you know, with public transport improvements and other things that we've now just unlocked, maybe the need for car parks would be lessened and we can remove this and build something else here. That would be the idea. So I like to put down quite a few early game and then hopefully reduce them later on, but we'll see how that all goes. So the last thing then is just we've unlocked some parks now. So we have small park, plaza, playground, dog park, campfire site. We have unique... Oh my god, we actually have one. The Grand Hotel. Oh, we have enough money for it. Yeah, I think you can... I don't think you actually have to unlock these. You just get them if you have the money. A Grand Hotel. Wow. Yeah, we'll look at those in the future. Obviously, it's way too early. We've also unlocked public transportation, buses, bus routes, and taxi depots. So I should say bus and taxi lanes. So we'll definitely have both of those. I think they could be good over in the service area. So what I'm going to do really quickly is go into our Parks and Rec. We're going to unlock park maintenance. And I don't know if we'll unlock anything else today. I think we'll probably go with the recycling center. We've got 4 points, so we'll probably spend it in the next episode. I'd like to see some feedback of what people would like to see next. But just really quickly, I think the plaza fits in here really nicely. Let's just turn on snapping. Boom. And they actually have different models and stuff. So it is just like a little park area, 2 different kind of styles to it. So they're going to be loving that. And our park maintenance vehicles will come out and help it along. Something else I'll do is I'll start putting down some trees just at the back of this little alleyway. Could make things look quite nice. And yeah, that's going to have to be it for this episode. It's just the last thing I want to do is just fill in that sort of area and get to that milestone and see what we have available. We've got now 18 permits. We can kind of expand wherever we want. We're a grand village. We can create districts. We have the production panel, so now we can see all sorts of things about like what we have demands for. You know, it'd be good to set up our own agriculture, our own livestock, stone, ore mining, that kind of thing, coal. All of that stuff would be good. If we have a look at our electricity demand and things like that now, we're still overproducing, so that means we are selling some of our excess electricity, which is really cool. That's service trade, so we're making 25,000 just doing that. We're still bleeding money though, fairly heavily. Obviously taxes are really low right now though, but now we can actually start to think about what industries we want to set up and change the tax rates to incentivize various shops and industries to specialize in things that would benefit them because we have our own local industry set up here. We've also got demands for everything now, including offices. I was thinking offices would go in and around the crematorium. I think that would be actually kind of fine, but maybe that would be morbid. I don't know. I've often said I have no idea where crematoriums are supposed to go relative to other things in the cities. And the idea for the next episode is going to be to expand down this way and then definitely just make use of all this space. So this will be the first part of the city, just using all the space here, and then we'll kind of work out what we're going to do after the fact. This was really a nice little starter town to get the ball rolling. Doesn't seem like traffic's like too bad, really. I'm not seeing anything getting gridlocked or super backed up. I think roundabouts have helped that, and also some of our one-way ins and outs, even though they don't get used that much, but also the 3 lanes on the way in. This clears the roundabouts from getting too backed up when they get busy. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. We got the estates, the working class, low tier estates, low density, sorry is what I was trying to think of. Low density estates. Before we then have more and more suburbs, and then we start thinking about increasing the density of these places by adding more houses like this that can have multiple households within it, multiple apartments and things that people live in. You can check any of those families then. Their household wealth is poor. They're overall content though. They're very happy with the things they've been given. If we look at the individual person, they're a senior. That makes sense. And then you can see their education level and stuff like that. So pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully I've given you a bit of a sit rep as to how everything is going currently. 246 in elementary school. We need to think of where the high school is going to go. So high school plus the rest of the city kind of out down this way. Start thinking about buses and public transport. Oh, sorry, and the very last thing was actually placing that park maintenance step. Oh my god, it fits perfectly. That was not planned, just fortuitous. So we can tuck it in right in here. Little services alleyway that they can use to get in now. It's interesting that the road just continues around the back there. You also have to think about what kind of upgrades are going to be added on. So you could always add in one of these to the back as well, maybe. Could be kind of nice. So yeah, cool. That's a nice building, actually. City Park District, Maintenance and Grounds Facility. So I don't know if anything's going to roll out of here because we've only added 2 parks, so they don't really have that much demand to go out and do anything. And these have all... no, they've only got 1 out there now. I imagine the road condition's pretty much perfect now. Yeah. Alright everybody, that's got to be it for this episode. I actually had a blast. This was went very smoothly, so I gotta say, things went very well with this one. I'm really keen to see people's feedback on it, and also suggestions and things that you'd like to see in the future. Obviously, some things have to be done. We gotta set up specialized industry, we've gotta build a high school, and I'm gonna be expanding down this way at first. But I'd still like to see what you guys think of various detailing, what could fit in maybe some of these triangle-y pockets, these irregular shapes that we've created. And just stuff like that, and see what you'd like to see more of in future. Following people's lives. I know some YouTubers actually will feed in the credits of, or the patrons that they might have or whatever. I don't have a Patreon, but we do have channel memberships and lots of credits at the end of every video. We could actually start naming people after that and maybe following them around. That'd be pretty cool. If you think that's a good idea, let me know. Drop it in the comments, and we'll do it. Alright, that's gotta be it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe if you want to see more in City Skylines 2. Like the video as well if you have the extra second to do it. Would appreciate it. Actually helps me out quite a lot, especially on first episodes. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.